Oh no, what did they do to my radishes? Welcome back to the Garden Hutch. Today we'll discuss week 42 of 2023. Let's get going. So week 43 was like a lot of weeks in 2023. It was warm and dry. In fact, we had to water 3 times last week. We had 2 days that got almost 90. The wind was blowing really hard those 2 days. The problem is that we have a lot of seedlings coming up here on the homestead. And if you let those things dry out, man, it's going to kill everything. So anyway, with that being said, what I want to do today is just kind of reset where we're at going into the holiday season, kind of update everyone on our video schedule and what we plan on doing headed into next year. So let's start with just saying thank you to everybody who's been watching the channel this year. We are almost at 1,000 subscribers, which was what our goal was when we started way back last year. So we're really excited and we're really thankful. If you haven't subscribed to this video, or to this channel, I'm sorry, and you're watching this video, do us a solid. Hit that subscribe button, hit the thumbs up. You'll be part of the Good Guy team. We appreciate it. The second thing I wanted to talk about in regards to the channel is it's getting to be that time of year where a lot of the things I have to do on the homestead are busy work, where I'm cutting and burning and that sort of stuff. And truthfully, it just doesn't go very well with the videos that I like to make. So what I usually do this time of year is we're going to do 1 video a week. We'll drop it here on Mondays and we'll discuss what happened during the week. Because of the nature of these videos, some of them are going to be longer, some of them are going to be shorter. It's just that time of year. Weather's going to dictate a lot of what we talk about. Mama Spider had her babies. We'll probably try to leave this jalapeno plant here for a few more weeks. Wait till at least the frost or whatever. That way these babies can move on and hibernate and they'll be here to eat critters next year. So the next thing I want to do is just sort of run through the gardens and do the reset real fast. So we're going to start here in the old garden. Let's take a look. So in the Vegeta bed, it's still looking about the same, right? Right now we're getting the basil, parsley, mustard greens will be coming out really soon. We also are still picking pimento peppers. And as we showed earlier, the jalapeno peppers still have quite a few on them. But the mama spider is the fun part. Just as a, let's step back here so you can see what I'm talking about. But all of these basil plants we have allowed to go to seed. It serves a couple purposes, gives us a lot of basil plants moving forward. The other thing, and maybe more importantly though, is it gives our bees a late fall food source. So they like to eat these things, you know, the goldenrod, that sort of stuff around the property as well. So that's cool. And then we have had, with this weather being what it is, we have had a lot more tomatoes starting to set. You can see though that a lot of the older vines on these cherry tomatoes, they have started dying off. So I don't know, it'll be hopefully another few weeks and we'll still be able to eat tomatoes. But until then, I'm just gonna leave them on here. The dead doesn't look that bad. It kind of matches the fall, to be honest with you. More mustard greens. We'll have a batch of these before much longer. And then all through here, those are all baby mustard greens that we'll be eating through the course of the rest of the fall. The good thing about these mustard greens and the turnip greens that we have over here, these plants can resist a bit of a frost, right? So even if it gets down, I don't know, 30, 31 degrees or so, it's not going to kill off these plants. In fact, a lot of people don't like to eat greens until they've had a frost because it kind of takes away a bit of the bitter taste. But overall, I'm really excited with the way those 2 beds are set up for the fall. More than likely, this is going to be the cadence that we use going forward. We'll have to wait and see how the rest of the year plays out. And then down here, these are remnants from the summer garden. We have the cucumbers and the pole beans. We got our last cucumber last week, and I don't know that we're going to have any more. So I'll probably start pulling this stuff out going forward. Just kind of taking my time with it. I don't like to pull them too much just because it allows some of the native bugs to set in for next year. But we did have a bit of an infestation in this bed, so it might be better just to pull it and burn it all. Just a quick note before we step in here to the top garden and move on to the pallet garden. I did finish mulching the top garden. I left a little bit up there because we're supposed to have quite a big rainstorm moving through into this week, and I wanted to make sure I had something to fill in any gaps if we had any runoff. All right, let's take a look at where we're at. So just real fast, the carrots, they are doing a lot better than what they did in the springtime. A lot better coverage. I think a lot of this is user error, what happened earlier. I'm just not experienced enough right now at growing carrots. Watering them and putting them in the ground, how to space the seeds, that sort of stuff. It's only like the third year we've grown them, so we're still somewhat novices, but we have had success growing them, and I hope to do so again this fall. And then we've got radishes. No, I'm sorry. These are more turnips. Those are radishes. And then up there around the volunteer okra, we have more of our lettuce to complement the big lettuce bed. I'm not sure how much of this we're actually going to need, but when it comes to lettuce this time of year, I'd rather have too much than not enough. You know, around the holidays and such, people are going to use it for family meals, that kind of stuff. And I say this a lot, but lettuce is real easy to get rid of if you grow too much. So we continue to do that. So just as a keeping on with the trend we talked about earlier, you can see this weather has encouraged these cherry tomatoes as well to put off a lot more. So that'll be fantastic. Here at the end of October, we'll end up with quite the harvest of fresh tomatoes, and hopefully that will be able to satisfy me until we can get them next year in June. Oh, I dread thinking about that. That's a long time to go without fresh tomatoes. But we're still getting bell peppers, and these are more greens. You know, again, the idea on most of these beds is a lot of these greens are going to come out, we're going to eat them, and then we're going to come through and top these beds off, and they'll be replanted first thing in the spring. So I try to avoid, I say that with everything, probably the carrots, but I try to avoid using the beds in the fall and the spring. We have enough, everything has a summer crop that grows in it, minus the carrots, which is why they get planted a little different. But because of that, I like to allow them either the spring or the fall to rest. So in this situation, this is still our summer garden. Whenever these plants are done and over with, nothing else will go in there until probably the end of February. We're going to move right on to the pallet garden, and I don't want to start with the bad part first. So we're going to start down here on the bottom. This is a little disappointing to me. This beet bed here and that bed over there were both planted at the same time. We direct sowed the seeds, and to me it was a failure, right? Like, these haven't even come up. Now this bed gets the most sun out of any of the pallet beds, and when it got 90 degrees, all of the beets in here just burned up. They weren't big enough to withstand the increase in temperature like it was. I think there was like a 55-degree shift in temperature from the low to the high that day. So it played havoc on a lot of our plants. But you can see in here too, like, there are spots in here that we have just totally missed. And the plants just don't look as good as the ones we'll see in a minute. What does that mean? Well, it just means that going forward, we're gonna have to improve on our beet game. I've got a game plan. I'll show it to you here in a minute, and we're just going to follow that. But those are the summer beds. This guy over here, these are the Nadapinos. They have done fantastic. And again, I probably will not put anything else in that bed this year because it's going to be a pepper bed next year as well. The idea is peppers don't have to go in until middle of May. So next year I can grow beets in this, and I can let them go all the way up to the middle of May before I have to pull them and then replace them with the bell peppers. So that's kind of our strategy here with the pallet garden. This was the purple holes. We pulled them out, and I was going to go ahead and fill it with radishes, which I'm going to have to do, and I'm going to show you the reason why. This was my beautiful radish bed, and our chickens got in here. I put the, or I will put the discovery of this bed at the front of this video, but oh my gosh, I was so disappointed. I've already pulled some of the radishes, but you can still see there are some more in here that I'm going to try to save. I'm wondering if I leave the other ones in here, if they'll regrow the green on them. I'm just afraid that if I do, the chickens will just jump in there and eat my stuff again. Leslie and her dadgum chickens. And then these are the beets that I was talking about. We started these beets in here indoors, and then we transplanted them into this bed, and they are doing remarkable compared to the other ones. So my idea was, let's just try, because it's more labor intensive, right? To start the beets inside, you have to transplant them into the plug trays. From the plug trays, you've got to bring them outside daily, back in at night a lot of times, just so they don't get burned up. And then you have to individually plant each individual beet. But if we look at the progress from this beet to the beets in the other bed, it's night and day. I don't even know why I wouldn't do this. So next spring, that's going to be the game plan. Well, that wraps up week 42. As always, I appreciate you folks for hanging out with me today. Till next time, I hope you all take care of yourselves. Peace.